People always ask why I still have security cameras around my house. I usually joke and say they're cheaper than replacing stolen packages. The truth is, I haven't watched the footage in over a year, and I don't want to know if he's ever come back. This happened 3 years ago. My wife had taken our daughter to visit her parents for the weekend, leaving me alone in our house just outside Columbus, Ohio. It wasn't exactly rural. We had neighbors on both sides. Kids rode their bikes down the street every afternoon. People walked their dogs after dinner. It was one of those neighborhoods where nothing ever seemed to happen. I'd lived there for 6 years without so much as someone checking car door handles. The security cameras were mostly for deliveries. Front door, driveway, back patio, nothing special. Every night before bed, I'd quickly check the app to make sure packages hadn't arrived late. Then I'd lock the doors, turn off the downstairs lights, and head upstairs. Friday started exactly like that. After work, I ordered takeout, watched baseball, folded laundry, and texted my wife goodnight. Around 10:45, I remembered I'd left a cooler in the backyard after mowing earlier that week. I walked outside, grabbed it, locked the sliding door behind me, and went upstairs. Completely normal. At 1:17 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Backyard camera. I rolled over and looked at it. The thumbnail showed nothing. Just my fence. Probably a raccoon. We had those all the time. I dismissed the notification and went back to sleep. The next morning, while drinking coffee, I opened the recording. The motion started with the empty yard. Wind moving the trees. Nothing unusual. Then, someone slowly stepped into frame. Not from the gate. From behind my detached garage. He wasn't wearing a hoodie or a mask. Just jeans, a gray sweatshirt, hands in his pockets. He walked into the middle of my backyard and stopped. He stood there for almost 40 seconds, not looking around, not trying to steal anything, just staring directly at my back door. Then he walked away, behind the garage again. That was it. I remember thinking, weird. Maybe someone drunk took a shortcut. Maybe a neighbor looking for a lost dog. The gate was locked, though. I figured maybe he'd climb the fence. I shrugged it off. Saturday was uneventful. I mowed the front lawn, washed my truck, spent most of the day inside because it was hot. That night I grilled a steak, locked up around 11. Same routine. Nothing felt wrong. Until 12:54 a.m. Another motion alert, same camera. This time I watched it live. The yard looked empty. Then the man stepped into view again. Same clothes, same pace. He walked to almost the exact same spot. Stopped. Looked at my house. Didn't move. I whispered to myself, "What are you doing?" As if he could hear me. He stayed there for nearly a minute before walking away again. I almost called the police. Instead, I convinced myself I was overreacting. Technically, he hadn't done anything. He hadn't tried the door. He hadn't broken anything. He just stood there. Sunday morning, my neighbor Mark came over while I was washing the driveway. I mentioned it casually. You ever see anyone cutting through yards? He frowned. No. I showed him the clip. His face changed immediately. That's not normal. He asked if I'd reported it. I hadn't. He told me I should. I said I'd wait. Looking back, that was my biggest mistake. Sunday night, my wife and daughter came home. I didn't even tell them. I didn't want to scare anyone. We watched a movie, put our daughter to bed around 8. By 10:30, everyone was asleep. Around 2:11, my daughter started crying. Not screaming, just crying. I walked into her room. She was sitting upright. Daddy, there's somebody walking outside. I looked through her bedroom window. Nothing. Street empty. Backyard dark. Kids imagine things. I told her she'd had a bad dream. She nodded, went back to sleep. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Backyard. My stomach dropped. I opened the live feed. The backyard was empty. Then, someone walked underneath the camera. So close, only the top of his head appeared on screen. He hadn't crossed the yard this time. He was beside the house, right below my daughter's window. I quietly walked downstairs. Didn't turn on any lights. Every room felt louder than usual. The refrigerator humming. The air conditioner running. My own breathing. I reached the kitchen. Looked through the sliding glass door. Nothing. Then, a soft sound. Tap, 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 coming from the side of the house. Not knocking. More like someone lightly touching the siding with their fingertips. I froze. Another tap. Closer. Then silence. I backed away and called 911. The dispatcher asked if I could see anyone. No. But someone's outside. She told me officers were on the way. Then, the motion alert changed. Garage camera activated. I switched feeds. The man wasn't outside anymore. He was inside my attached garage, standing perfectly still, looking at the interior door that led directly into my laundry room. The door I'd forgotten to deadbolt after taking out the trash earlier. He slowly reached for the handle. I ran across the house and slammed the deadbolt just as the handle began to turn from the other side. One turn, then another, then harder. The door shook once, twice. My daughter started crying upstairs. My wife yelled, "What's happening?" I shouted, "Stay in the bedroom. Lock the door." The handle stopped moving. Everything became quiet, too quiet. Then footsteps, walking away, slowly. No running, no panic, just calm footsteps, disappearing deeper into the garage. The police arrived less than 4 minutes later. By then, he was gone. The garage side door had been forced open. Inside, nothing had been stolen. Nothing had been touched, except the officer found muddy footprints leading to the laundry room door. Whoever it was hadn't been looking for valuables. He'd been looking for a way inside. A detective later reviewed 2 weeks of camera footage, something I'd never bothered checking. The man had appeared 6 different nights, always after midnight, always standing in the backyard, always watching the house, sometimes for only 30 seconds, sometimes for several minutes, waiting, learning our routine, learning when lights turned off, learning which rooms stayed dark. The detective believed he was looking for the safest opportunity to enter. He never found him. No fingerprints, no DNA, nothing. We moved 8 months later, not because we had to, because none of us could sleep there anymore. Even now, every security camera notification makes my heart race. And sometimes I think about those earlier nights, the ones before I ever checked the recordings. The detective said he'd only confirmed 6 visits. Only 6, but every now and then. I wonder how many times he was standing in my backyard before the cameras ever noticed him.